Hey, I'm Pastor Terry Thompson, and I get the privilege of being part of the Church Hub team. And I'm super excited about that. The Church Hub is an organization that was created with some ministry experts, if you will, in different fields. So if pastors need help, they can get help in different areas. And so if a pastor needs help in preaching, we have a preaching lane. If they need help with children's, there's a children's lane. If they need help with whatever it is, there's a lane for pastors to be able to come to one central location and find help. And the part that I get to play in that is I work with church revitalization or renewal, churches that are stuck status quo or in decline and need help on how do we get things healthy and how do we get things moving forward again. And so I run a ministry called Small Church USA. And let me tell you where that came from and why I have such a passion for this area. I was a youth pastor for 12 years in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then an associate pastor in Columbus, Ohio for 2 years before taking my first lead pastor position in a small town called Crawfordsville, Indiana. West Central Indiana, a community of about 15,000 people, just surrounded by cornfields and all of that. It was my first lead pastor position. I went in to help revitalize a church that had been in steady decline for 10 years. They'd gotten down to 20 elderly people. The average age was 64 years old. There were two men, no kids, and the rest were elderly ladies. And so at 35 years old, my wife and I walk into that with two little girls. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew this. The church was unhealthy. And if we could get the church healthy, then we could see what God could do with a healthy church. And so we started to pray and we started to work, and God started to bless. And over the next 24 years, God grew our church from 20 elderly people to a church of 1,000. And he did immeasurably more than we could have ever asked or imagined in this little community of 15,000 people in West Central Indiana. And a couple of years ago, I handed the church off to a next generation pastor who is now my pastor, which is super cool that I'm still on the elder team, but I'm just not leading the church anymore. And we started Small Church USA because in the 24 years that God was doing this really cool story, there was a lot of pastors and churches that reach out to us and said, "How did you do it? Can you help us?" And they just wanted like, okay, somebody like walk us through this process. And I didn't have a lot of bandwidth when I was leading the church. So we started Small Church USA to very intentionally help all these pastors and churches that needed help. And in the last couple of years, God has just thrown open the floodgates of churches that are coming to us going, hey, like that's what I need. Our church is stuck. It's status quo. It's in decline. I don't know how to get it out of there, and I don't know how to get it moving forward. And so we've worked with over 125 churches in 19 different states, some pastors in Jamaica. We got some pastors from London, England coming over to start our engagement in January. And so God's just doing some really cool things. And so we have a year-long engagement that we do with pastors and churches. We put them in a cohort of 5 or 6 guys together, and we stay with them for an entire year. I wrote a playbook that we walk through with the guys. And as they work through this, they work with their leadership team. They do some evaluations on their church. And then they try to figure out, like, okay, we're not healthy in these areas. How do we get healthy? And we help coach them through tools, resources, and best practices to get healthy in the areas that they're not healthy. And so that's a monthly Zoom call after a 2.5 day retreat that we do with them in person. And then between our monthly Zoom calls, every cohort that we have also has a guide pastor in it. So another healthy pastor in a thriving church that will call their guys individually and help them walk through the process in a one-on-one coaching call as well. And so God's just using this in some really, really cool ways. And so if that's you, if that's your church, if you're like, wow, we could use some help, you can get a hold of us through the Church Hub. You can get a hold of us through smallchurchusa.com. But it's what we do, and we love what we're doing. We lived church revitalization for 24 years and saw God just bless in crazy ways. We just want to pass that along to other churches and other pastors that need help. And so if there's something we can do to help you as a pastor in a church out there, please get a hold of us and let us know. We would love to work with you.